Well, it was supposed to be a routine UN briefing, but it turned into a verbal explosion. You're watching Times XP. My name is Riddhi, and let's dwell into the story here. The US on the one side, Venezuela on the other, and the word exchange, they were sharper than the missiles. Yes, something explosive happened in the UN. An emergency meeting was called at the United Nations. Reason? The US claimed that there is a potential threat to international peace and security. Venezuela said that this is nonsense, and then came the confrontation. Venezuela's envoy, he goes on the attack. Standing before the world, Venezuela's UN ambassador, he did not hold back. He accused Washington of acting like American extortionists. Yes, that phrase was said inside the UN chamber. He called the US argument absurd and rejected America's claim that its actions are justified under the rule of war. There is no war here. Venezuela's messages, they were simple, they were loud. Well, there is no armed conflict, there is no war in the Caribbean, there is no legal basis for the US actions. So provoking wartime rules? Pure fiction. That's what Caracas says. But what sparked this face-off? Well, this fight, it did not begin at the UN. It began at the sea. So recently, the United States seized 2 oil tankers carrying Venezuelan crude in international waters. Washington says that these ships, they were part of a network used to evade the US sanctions. But Caracas says that this was illegal seizure, piracy on the high seas, a violation of international law. But why oil is at the heart? Well, for Venezuela, oil is not just business, it is survival. It funds the government, it keeps the economy alive, it pays for the imports. By targeting oil shipments, Venezuela says the US is trying to strangle the countries financially. Then enters the Trump card. This escalation comes straight from Donald Trump, the president's pressure playbook. Trump has reimposed harsh sanctions, threatened blockades, in fact, tightened enforcement at the sea. The goal is to force the president, Nicolas Maduro, to the wall. No tanks, no bombs, just economic pain. The US response at the UN, it also was shocking. The US ambassador pushed back hard. Washington insists that sanctions are legal, enforcement is justified, Venezuela is abusing global trade system. The tankers, the US says, they were not innocent. They were part of deliberate sanction busting operation. But why UN clash matters here? Because there was no shouting. There was a factor of who controls international water, who enforces sanctions, who decides what is legal at the sea. Now, if the US can seize ships, other nations worry that who's next here. Basically, there is a broader risk. When economic pressure meets military enforcement, tensions rise, miscalculation grow, and diplomacy weakens. And all of a sudden, trade disputes start looking like security crisis.